So, hello everybody, this is Bhante Joe here, and I'm just in the forest here near a town called Iriyagasupota in Sri Lanka, and thought to record a short ovada for the internet, so I thought that could start with a little meditation. So I could lean forward a bit and arch the spine, and look about 3 feet in front, and close our eyes. And can spread thoughts of goodwill to our right hand side, wishing may all beings to my right be happy and at ease. May they put in place the causes necessary to be happy and at ease. And we can make the mind infinite, can make it unbounded, all the way to the ends of the universe and beyond, in every dimension. May all beings to my right be happy and at ease. And we can spread thoughts of goodwill to our right hand side and our left hand side. May all beings to my right and my left be happy and at ease. May they put in place the causes necessary to be happy and at ease. And we can spread thoughts of goodwill to our right hand side, to our left hand side, and in front. May all beings to my right, my left, and in front be happy and at ease. May they put in place the causes necessary to be happy and at ease. And we can spread thoughts of goodwill to our right hand side, our left hand side, in front, behind, all around in all 4 directions. May all beings in all 4 directions be happy and at ease. May they put in place the causes necessary to be happy and at ease. And we can spread thoughts of goodwill to our right hand side, our left hand side, in front, behind, and above. May all beings in all 4 directions and above be happy and at ease. May they put in place the causes necessary to be happy and at ease. And we can spread thoughts of goodwill to our right hand side, our left hand side, in front, behind, above, below, all around in every direction everywhere. May all beings all around in every direction everywhere be happy and at ease. May they put in place the causes necessary to be happy and at ease. Then we can make the mind infinite, can make it unbounded, all the way to the ends of the universe and beyond, in every dimension. May all beings all around everywhere be happy and at ease. Okay, you can open our eyes and do a short ovada for the internet. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Buddhaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi, Dhammaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi, Saṅghāṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi. Tatiyampi Buddhaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi, Tatiyampi Dhammaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi, Tatiyampi Saṅghāṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi. Tatiyampi Buddhaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi, Tatiyampi Dhammaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi, Tatiyampi Saṅghāṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi. So hope that everybody's having a great day wherever it might be. And I've had the lucky opportunity to stay for a short period, in this very isolated forest, and it's been quite wonderful. The people around are really wonderful and helpful, and the environment's also really wonderful, quiet and secluded, and good for Buddhist practice. So this coming Sunday, I think tomorrow, is actually Mother's Day. And it's been interesting at this house where I went for dana today. Kind of, you come out of the forest, there's about a 40-minute walk through the forest here. And then one comes out and usually goes to just one place for dana. And then usually several people meet you there and they put food in your bowl, you walk back through the forest. So the pindapot here, or the alms round here, is a lot of it is walking through the forest just to one place. And the place that I walked to today, it was interesting because the whole family was in one house together. Basically, there was two young children, maybe two or three, and then I could see the mother and father. I'm not sure how old they were, maybe 20s or 30s. Then their parents, so the grandparents, were there. So I'm not sure how old they are, maybe 60s or so. And then as the dana was going on and it came to an end, and usually the monk does some chanting at the end, they picked up this woman. This woman came out, was carried out and put in the chair, and she said, "Oh, that's my mother." So even the great-grandmother was living there in that house, or in this at least large, I don't know how big the compound was, if they had other buildings in that area. I didn't really take a close look. But basically, this whole family of 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, maybe 6, 7 people, something like this, living in one house. And it's interesting to see the way that the kind of family structures function sometimes here in Sri Lanka. This being a kind of Buddhist country with Buddhist values, there's this strong Buddhist value of taking care of one's parents, kind of trying to help out one's parents. And of course, this was also present to a large extent in the West. But for me, being a Buddhist monk and coming to a Buddhist country, it's been very interesting to see the way it plays out here. So one of the things that the Buddha emphasized very strongly was the need for gratitude, and especially for gratitude to those people who've helped us a lot. So he compares parents to Brahma. He compares parents to the first teachers. So, usually in the way that religion was generally understood in India at that time, often you'd have, you might have gods or devas, but you'd have these founders of religions, and those would be called the first teachers, I guess you'd say. And kind of the first Brahmins, the first rishis in the Brahmin lineage. They were the ones who composed the Brahmin hymns. They were kind of like the founders of the religion. So the Buddha compares parents very highly, even to Brahma, who was who was considered to be the creator god in Brahmanism at the time, and even to the first teachers, who were the kind of the founders of the religion. So there would be quite a strong, very high comparison. So kind of parents are basically like Brahma. Parents are like the first teachers, and basically at houses, places where parents are treated with respect, it's like you're living with Brahma, you're living with the first teachers. So this brings up a kind of an interesting principle in Buddhism, which is that people have these kind of karmic connections, kind of karmic bonds that they form. And basically one's karmic bonds, one's karmic connection that one forms towards others depends to a certain extent on what they've done for you. Not totally, but for example, somebody who's done quite a lot for one, somebody who's helped out one a lot, then doing things for them becomes very important. Showing them gratitude, showing them appreciation, and trying to repay them in kind to a certain extent becomes something very important that generates quite a lot of good karma. So the Buddha says that even if one carried one's parents around on both shoulders, your one shoulder had one's mother, one shoulder had one's father, and he said even if they were to urinate, defecate right there, then one wouldn't repay them because of that. Even if one were to establish them in kingship or sovereignty or king and queenship, however you might put it, over the entire world, one still wouldn't repay them for that, because what they've done for one is so great. They kind of bring one up, they raise one, they show one the world. I remember when I was living at one monastery in Canada, and there was a young monk. We were about the same age, and he was remarking, I think, to the chief monk. So the chief monk told me that this young monk said, it's amazing what our parents give us. They give us language. We don't even think about that. They kind of give us language. This is something that we get from our parents. People don't know how to use the toilet without their parents. They don't know how to use a spoon without their parents. They don't know how to walk without their parents. They don't know how to talk without their parents. So there's even been cases, I think, where people have been separated from. I think there's this book in one monastery I went to, and it was called like Wolf Children or something. And apparently there's been these documented cases where people actually disappear into the wilderness and are helped by animals. And I remember there's this kind of book, kind of legitimate book, where there's been real cases where this happened. But what tends to happen is because they're not raised in a period where they hear people speaking and are taught language, they have a lot of trouble learning how to communicate after that, even if they're found when they're adults and given teachings. So this is something where one's parents bring one up. And kind of one's parents, they stop one from putting poisonous things in one's mouth. They kind of teach a person what they can eat, what they can't eat. Kind of see little kids crawling around, they kind of pick things up and pop it in their mouth, whatever it might be. And of course, an adult knows how to differentiate what one can eat, what one can't eat, what's safe to taste, what's not safe to taste. And all these things are skills that one has been shown by one's parent. So basically, the learning curve when one is young is just enormous. The amount of things that one is picking up, the skills that one's picking up, are these very complex, or we call complex, very difficult, complex skills. One's learning how to use one's body, one's mind, to basically survive in the world, and this is something that's taught by one's parents. One's parents are there. So this is one of the reasons why what one's parents do for one is this huge gift. And even if one's parents aren't around, even if one was separated from one's parents at birth, whatever it might be, still one is alive because of the genetics of one's parents. So the Buddha teaches that one has to be very grateful to them. In fact, there's basically 5 actions that a person can do. If one does it, then there's no saving one. One goes to hell. You can't escape from going to hell because of that. It's kind of these very serious actions. And one of them is if one murders one's mother or father. Another one is if one murders an arahant. So in this way, the karma that one generates interacting with one's mother and father is the same as the karma one generates when interacting with an arahant. And it's not explicitly spelled out, but one can kind of imagine or extrapolate to assume that giving gifts to one's mother and father, helping one's mother and father, showing appreciation and respect to one's mother and father has a karmic force or a karmic effect that's similar to showing respect and appreciation to an arahant, showing respect and appreciation to the first teacher, showing respect and appreciation to Brahma. And this is because of the degree to which they've helped one, the degree to which they've enabled one to live. So this is the interesting thing about the way karma functions to a certain extent in Buddhist teachings, is that there implicitly seems to be this karmic bond that gets formed when people help one out. What one does to them gets magnified after that. So in this way, the Buddha teaches that one should basically treat one's parents by, it's even kind of like massaging their limbs, basically getting them food and drink, or I can't remember the exact, massaging their limbs was in the sutta, I haven't reread it for a while, but basically providing them with what they need, especially when they're old. And kind of they said, having been cared for by my parents, now I'll care for them. Now's my time to care for them. And this was one of the things that was inspiring to see in this household today, is kind of these generations on generations in this one house, and the upper generations being cared for by the lower generations. Kind of this kind of net of care that this family had, and kind of that their mother, their grandmother, their grandparents or great grandparents being cared for. And then even the little young ones around there too, kind of 2 or 3 in this kind of stack, in this kind of hierarchy. When one develops a mind like this of appreciation and gratitude towards one's parents, one does what one can to help one's parents out, then this rebounds back on one's own mind. This rebounds back on one's own psyche. It lifts one's mind up in ways that are subtle. It elevates one's mind in ways that one can't necessarily predict in an A to B relationship. Kind of, okay, if I help my mother with this or father with this, take them out to the movies or something, I'll get this much happiness. It doesn't necessarily work that way. But when one develops this kind of lifestyle and this habit, then this elevates one's mind. It raises one's mind. It makes one's mind happy. And kind of, at the very least, one is contributing to a society where people feel like when they get old, they'll be respected, they'll be cared, they'll be looked after. So on Mother's Day, or pretty much any day, the Buddha, there was no Mother's Day then, but the Buddha recommends that one keep this relationship in mind, this kind of relationship that one's parents are like the first teachers, that one's parents are like Brahma, that one can serve them with food and clothes and drink, that one can massage their limbs, that one can look after them when one gets old, and that this is something that elevates one's mind and creates these kind of what one might call mysterious conditions in the mind, the mysterious and unpredictable conditions that lead to happiness, the mysterious and unpredictable conditions that lead to ease, the mysterious and unpredictable conditions that lead one's mind to incline to a state of ease as one gets old oneself, and create the karmic conditions also perhaps for one to be cared for as one has cared for others. And at the very least, one contributes to a society where people see that it's older members, it's senior members who have helped to raise, they're being cared for. And this helps to make people feel at ease, because everybody will grow old one day. So if one can give this respect, if one can give this homage to those who've come before, to those who've helped, when people see this, when one sees this oneself, then one feels that as one gets older oneself, one will be in a situation where growing old is something that one need not fear so much. So in all these ways, paying homage to one's parents, caring for them, and taking care of them is something that leads to wholesome qualities in the mind, that brighten the mind when one sits down on the meditation cushion, that lead one to happiness in old age, and that act as a support, as a foundation for one's practice, for finding an end to suffering. Okay, so I think that leave that for reflection, and hope that everybody has a great day wherever it might be, and wishing you all the blessings of Dhamma practice. Pati Pati Saranai.